Have you ever been to Disney World without using Magic Express? How did you get from the airport to your resort or hotel? Today on Walt Disney World Adults Only, we'll look at several options. Welcome, your Royal Highnesses. I'm Carol, and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. The free transportation, known as the Magical Express, stopped at the end of December 2021. Now, the luggage service that delivered the luggage directly to your room stopped even before that. What options are available now? Magic Express was replaced by Mears Connect. Now, Mears always ran Magic Express for Disney, but it was under their label, and each of the buses had a Disney wrap. So Mears taking over the routes wasn't a big deal. So what changed? Well, first of all, it's a paid service. A one-way trip is $16 per person, and a round trip is $32 per person. They do have an express service that costs $250 and will transport up to 4 people directly to your resort. Another service called Sunshine Flyer also is a paid service, $17 one way, $24 round trip, and each of the buses are designed to look like old-time rail cars. Now, Lyft or Uber, and I would suggest checking both prices because there can be a difference, goes anywhere from $35 to $130 depending on the time of day, because they have peak pricing, and the size of the vehicle you need. Then you have private car services, and here you've got a huge variation in prices because it can be anything from a luxury limousine town car to just somebody with a livery license. So these can go anywhere from $100 to $500. Today I'll be joined by Jackie, Courtney, Mikki, and Eric as they share their experiences and opinions as to what's the best way to get from the airport to Disney World. Today I'm going to start with my experiences. I used Mears Connect. The lines were the same. You know, there was a line for Animal Kingdom Lodge, a line for All Stars, a line for Caribbean Beach. As soon as we got to the front of that line, and there was nobody in front of us, we walked right to the front of the line. They asked where we were going. Well, we were standing in the Animal Kingdom Lodge line, so I guess we were going to Animal Kingdom Lodge, but whatever. They immediately took our luggage and put us on the bus. Now, I recall with Magic Express standing for 15, 20, 30 minutes while the bus was just sitting there until the line got big enough, and then they would load us on. So I did like getting my luggage and sitting in a nice cushy seat. So I thought that was a nice little change. There were multiple stops. They loaded All Stars, Coronado, and Animal Kingdom Lodge all at once. We were the first stop at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and the whole trip took 50 minutes from the time we got on the bus till the time we got to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Now, on the return trip, I had learned my lesson about carting my luggage all through the airport, so we didn't return with Mears Connect. We used a Lyft. And the Lyft prices just seemed to be a little bit less expensive than the Uber, so we went with Lyft. Now, Lyft dropped us right at where you check in baggage. So to me, that was a game changer. Our flight was at 9 p.m. and it cost us about $50. Now, that price point can change depending on the time of day you're arriving at the airport. They do have peak pricing, which will cause that to change. I think that combination of Mears Connect from the airport and using a ride share back for us was the perfect combination. Jackie, I think you used Mears Connect on your last trip as well. Can you tell us about your experience?
Yes, Carol, I used Mears on my trip in January. It was super easy to book via their website, and all you had to know was your flight number and your resort. And it was only $32 round trip. I thought that was a great deal. As for the pros of using Mears, it's cheaper than getting a Uber or a private town car. And as a solo traveler, I can't get much cheaper than $32. It's also nice to be surrounded by other people and not stuck in a car with somebody you don't know. It's just that little extra peace of mind that makes me a little bit more relaxed on my vacation. My experience with Mears was so much more expedited than my last trip with Magical Express. I was able to walk right up, scan my QR code, and it told me exactly which line I needed to get into. And actually, there wasn't even a line. It was fabulous. I think we may have waited maybe 15 minutes for the bus to get loaded, but we were off to Disney in no time. And of course, since this is the same route that they usually take, the drive time was exactly the same. The bus driver was courteous and knowledgeable and helped you with your luggage. And the videos were cute, although not all Disney related. Mears also had no problems with my split stay. I was dropped off at Pop Century Resort and then was able to be picked up at the Polynesian for the other half of my stay. On my return trip, they sent a confirmation email and a text with the bus number and the driver's name and the time I was to be picked up, even though that was already in the email. But it was a nice, reassuring reminder that I could see right on my phone without having to go digging through emails. Drive back to the airport was the same as it was on Magical Express. Just no Disney videos reminding you that you were leaving Disney. Honestly, the only drawback was having to get my own luggage from baggage claim. I had never done that before, so I didn't know where to go. It was overwhelming, there were a lot of people, and I packed it heavy. So I had to take all of my luggage and haul it all the way over to the Mears check-in area. But honestly, if that was the worst for $32, I'll take it. Would I use it again? Most likely. I had no issues. The service was great and the price was right. Courtney, you didn't use Mears Connect. How did you get to Walt Disney World?
Thanks, Jackie. So now that Disney's Magical Express is no longer an option when traveling from the airport to Disney World, we decided to kind of switch things up a bit our last trip. Now, the only time that we would be traveling from the airport to Disney rather than driving ourselves is if it were just me and Todd traveling alone, or it was going to be a super short trip. So, when we travel from the airport to Disney, we are going to select a rideshare service, either Uber or Lyft. Our last trip, we used Lyft exclusively, and it was very much worth what we paid for. The trip from the airport to our resort was around $45 for the two of us. That included tip. Our ride from the resort back to the airport was just a teensy bit more expensive. It came in around $60 with tip. Overall, we feel the value that we have spent in the rideshare service. Not only do we get a more private ride, as it is just the two of us, we can select how we want to go. So if we are just wanting to save a little bit more money, we might choose somebody with just a quick little compact car. But if we are wanting a more comfortable ride, more room, or if we have a lot of things to take and we need more trunk space, then we're able to upgrade the ride that we select to either a larger vehicle, or if we want to indulge, maybe something a little classier. We use Lyft a lot back home, so using this service is something that we are very comfortable doing. I can see why somebody who is not familiar with the service or hasn't really used it a lot might be a little uneasy in trying it, but we have never had a bad experience. They've always treated us very well, and we always get to our destination without any issues. All right, Mikki, I think you rented a car for your last vacation. How did that work out for you?
Thanks, Courtney. Yes, that's right. We do rent a car for the entirety of our trip, and it really works well for us. Because we stay off-site in a villa and we come for a 2-week period to Orlando, having a car is really the best option, especially because we do like to venture further afield as well. When we rent a car, we collect it at the airport. We actually can check in online before we even come over from the UK. So all the necessary information is provided in advance. We just go to the relevant desk of whichever car hire company we're with. And let me say, there are quite a few car hire companies that operate out of Orlando Airport. So do a bit of research on the companies, who offer the best deals, who offer the type of car that you want with the level of insurance that's applicable to you. The price that you pay will depend on the type of car you have, what kind of cover you want. There's a lot of different things out there. Having the car in Orlando is great. Yes, there are parking charges at the parks. We're aware of that before we go, and we always budget that into our spending money. So it's not a surprise for us. What we also do before we go is we set up the Easy Pass, which is for the tolls. So that's just set up in advance, so we don't have to pay the tolls while we're there, and it just kind of comes off one of our credit or debit cards individually as we go, so you can just drive through the tolls. It's nice and easy to set up, and I think anybody can do it. So it's something to be aware of if you are hiring a car, that if you're driving around, there are a number of places where there are tolls on the road as well. So it works out a lot better for us with how we stay, and it's definitely something that we will continue to do, and it's something that we've got booked for our trip in September as well.
There's one person we haven't heard from yet, and that's Eric.
There sure are a lot of options to get you from the airport to your Disney resort. Now, as you mentioned, I have yet to visit the Walt Disney World Resort since they've discontinued the Magical Express. But in the past, that was always our go-to because it was included in the price of your vacation, and it was just simple and convenient. Now, I will say that of the options provided, I'm not really a fan of a private car service. We don't really need a private car. It's luxurious, yes, but we don't typically stay in a villa or get groceries or anything like that. So a lot of times the perk of taking a private car, besides getting you from point A to point B quickly, is that they'll often stop off at a grocery store or somewhere for you to stop and get supplies and groceries for the week. And that's something that we just don't need. As far as the Uber and Lyft app services go, I have utilized those services to get from airports to hotels in travels before, just not specifically at Disney World, from the MCO airport to our Disney World resort. The one thing that I don't like about Uber and Lyft is that they have variable pricing, which means that if the demand is high and there's a lot of riders requesting rides at the same time from one location, the app will raise the prices and the cost of the trip will go up. So sometimes you may take an Uber from the airport to your Disney resort and it may cost you $40. But if you come in at the same time on a very popular weekend or a very busy time of year, and a lot of flights come in at the same time and there's a lot of people requesting rides all at once, you may pay a lot more for that ride from the airport to your hotel. Another thing about Uber and Lyft is that you have to remember you have to fit your bags inside the vehicle as well. So depending on how many people you have in your group, it may not be practical for you to call for an Uber or Lyft for you and your bags. Even calling for what they call the XL, which is the larger vehicle, so you would get like a minivan or an SUV, sometimes even those don't have enough room for all the passengers plus your bags. We did take the Magical Express when they were no longer operating with the luggage service, so having to go to the baggage claim first and pick up our luggage and take it with us down to Mears Connect, we are familiar with that process. We've done it a few times. It does take a few extra minutes after you arrive in the terminal to go to baggage claim and get everything that you need and claim all your bags and take them with you. But again, it's not that big of an issue for us that it would turn us off from it. And I think for our next trip, we're definitely going to use Mears Connect.
Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. Hopefully it will help you plan your trip so you have a more enjoyable time at Disney World.
If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up.
Also, share this video with your friends. They're gonna love it.
Click that bell so you know when our next video premieres.
Please tell us in the comments what kind of videos you would like to see on our channel in the future.
If you're not already a part of our Walt Disney World Adults Only Facebook group, join us there where we will continue this discussion along with many, many more.
We talk about everything Walt Disney World.
And remember, never grow up.